Well, that's part of the learning process. I mean, I look. A lot of times you look how the team does. He did some spectacular things. We were -8 when he was on the floor. And that's, I mean, it's a matter of, that's just a consistency standpoint. That's why, I mean, that becomes frustrating at times. But I think the longer he plays, hopefully what's going to happen is that those will become, the inconsistent play hopefully will become fewer and far between. We were just, I mean, we were trying to make cuts and looked like we were running in mud. I mean, I just don't think that we had any, our guys have been, we were tired last game, and then when you lose James, one of our energy guys, and then you have three of our top perimeter guys fall out. I mean, to our credit, we kept them battling back. Nick makes a great shot to at least give us an opportunity as far as down the stretch, but we just couldn't get up over the hump, and we didn't have any answer. When they made their run, as far as with Harrington, we were in some foul trouble, and we had problems matching up. As far as we said, we put our bigs in there, and they were driving our bigs and playing small, and we put smalls in there, and our smalls picked up foul trouble, and so we were really behind the 8 ball a little bit. I don't know. I was coaching out there, so haven't seen him since.
Is that what you thought the difference was down the stretch, because you guys were leading by 10 there?
Well, I think we ran out of energy. We got into some foul trouble. We lost our. We had a lead. Then we had Al got in foul trouble. We had to get him out, Mike out. They made a little bit of run. As far as in that sequence, and we had played some guys that haven't really had a practice with us really per se, and they were in that kind of a situation, which isn't totally fair to those guys. And we really had no choice, and then we couldn't play the way they were. They were going so big. Their 2 guard was Chandler at 6'7", so we couldn't play Randy and Earl together, which maybe would have given us a little bit more, pop.
How about Randy's performance? He didn't miss till overtime, double-digit assists.
Yeah, well, he played well. He did some really positive things tonight, no question.
Dre, I mean, he had a lot of points, a lot of rebounds, also a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
How would you assess the way he played?
Just what you said. A lot of points, a lot of turnovers, a lot of rebounds. And he got frustrated at times. I jumped him on the bench. I think that he still has a tendency that when things don't go right, he gets down on himself. And if you're going to be a main guy and a coach is going to throw you the ball, you can't do that. You got to dig down and be more. You got to really keep a level head in those situations.
Talk about Nick. I mean, other than his shot, he seemed to have trouble finding.
He's just not. I think what happens when we brought guys in that play with a great amount of energy, and so what happens is that when you don't play with energy, it becomes magnified, because you're out there seeing guys flying all over the place, and if you're not flying all over the place, and it looks like basically you're lost, and so he's just got to keep on fighting through it and get with it.
Were you surprised at what happened again, the way he was blocking shots?
No, because for every block he had, they scored another one. I mean, he had some great blocks, but JaVale's got to learn that he had some great blocks, but he relies, when he should have went for the one block, he tried to take a charge, but he has a tendency that when a guy is head up with him and he's facing a guy, he doesn't want to contest those shots. He wants to try to contest from the side, because there's no contact on the side. You're going to get hit, and he's got to learn to get more where he can take a guy head on as far as and contest, from that area. Because when you get on the side, like what happened at the end, he tried to time that, as far as with Lee, and I have told JaVale, I told a lot of guys, guys as they get into it, you can always shoot the ball higher than you can jump. No matter how high you can jump, you can shoot it higher, and get it over and stuff. And so, but for him, it's a learning process. I mean, he was involved, in the last 2 minutes in numerous plays. He's probably been in more plays where it counted on whether we won or not in this game than maybe his whole career in the NBA so far. When you look at a charge at the basket, a couple blocks he did have, a couple blocks he didn't have, a couple situations where he left his guy to go give help and his guy gets a dunk, makes a big shot, at the end, gets fouled, makes one free throw, misses one, so he was in then the last play. But that's how you learn. It can be frustrating, but that's how you learn. But our guys played hard, so I mean, I can't complain. They didn't quit. You were down 5 with a minute 50 to go. They fired back, gave ourselves chances.
When you guys went up 10, what were the Knicks able to do to kind of get back in the game?
Well, we got in foul trouble. we got our, we had our best guys that were on the bench, and Harrington went crazy. He hit threes. We didn't finish out quarters at all tonight. We didn't finish out the first quarter. We were up 10. They got 6 points in the last 45 seconds. Halftime, second quarter we didn't finish that out. And then even as far as at the end of the third quarter, we didn't finish that out. So we, and I've always said that if you can win the first 4 minutes of each quarter and the last 4 minutes of each quarter, you got a pretty good chance of winning the game. And we didn't finish any of those quarters very good.
Flip, how about good play for Randy Foy?
He played, like I said, he was solid. He played good. He was tired at the end. He didn't have the legs to really turn the corner. I thought he got fouled, where McGee got fouled on. I thought he got fouled first going into the basket. I mean, if they're going to call the foul on, where they gave Harrington that foul as far as on Andre, then I would have thought for sure that Randy would have got a call on that one.
And his overall, the last couple games, his kind of level of his play, are you satisfied with that?
Inconsistent. I mean, I don't look just from I look how the team operates from a plus-minus standpoint. How and I'm harder on point guards than anybody because of my expectations. So he's done things. He's got to learn to play the game more gray than black and white. But that's what he's trying to learn how to do.